I am a 30-year-old man, and I have a daughter who is 6 years old. She is not biologically related to me. There is no blood connection between us, but in every way that matters. She is my child. I was friends with her mother for most of my life. We grew up together, practically inseparable since childhood. We were never romantically involved. Our bond was purely platonic, but incredibly strong. She was like a sister to me. At the age of 23, she married a wonderful man, and together they had a beautiful baby girl. They were overjoyed, starting their family and building a life together. Tragically, when their daughter, whom I'll call Lily, was just 3 months old, both her parents were killed in a horrific workplace shooting. For privacy reasons, I won't delve into the details, but they worked in the same building, and a senseless act of violence took them both away. It was a devastating blow to everyone who knew them. Both my friend and her husband came from less than ideal families. They had grown up in difficult circumstances and didn't have any siblings or close relatives who could step in to care for Lily. There was no next of kin to take her in. When I learned that Lily might end up in a foster care system, my heart broke. Even though I had always been uncertain about having children myself, I couldn't bear the thought of my best friend's daughter growing up without someone who loved her and who had a connection to her parents. So, I decided to adopt her. My parents and siblings are aware that Lily is not my biological daughter. From the beginning, I chose to be open with Lily about her adoption. She knows that her biological parents died at the hands of a bad man, though I'm saving the more complex details for when she's older and can better understand. She doesn't resemble me at all. She looks exactly like her mother and father. Often, people assume I'm her biological father, and that she takes after her mother in appearance. I usually don't correct them, because it doesn't seem necessary. My brother has been with his fiancée for about 2 years now. A few weeks ago, during a family gathering at my parents' house, my sister-in-law noticed an old photograph of me with my friend and her husband. She pointed to my friend and asked who she was. I explained that she was Lily's mother. My sister-in-law grew quiet and stood staring at the picture for a while. I didn't think much of it at the time. To clarify, she knew that my friend had passed away but didn't realize that she had been married or that Lily was not my biological daughter. I suppose she assumed that Lily was the result of a relationship between me and my friend. Unbeknownst to me, my sister-in-law became suspicious. Without my knowledge or consent, she conducted a DNA test on Lily. She used my brother's DNA for comparison, thinking it would reveal a familial connection. When the results showed that my brother and Lily were not related, she concluded that I was not Lily's biological father. She confronted me with the results, waving the paper in my face, accusing me of raising another man's child under false pretenses. She went so far as to say that I was taking care of a dead woman's affair baby. To make matters worse, she did this in front of Lily. I was stunned. For a moment, I just stared at her, and then I couldn't help but burst out laughing at the absurdity of the situation. I told her that I was well aware that Lily wasn't my biological daughter, and that there is such a thing as adoption. Her face turned bright red, and she stormed off in embarrassment. Later, my brother called me, furious that I had humiliated his fiancée. He said that she thought she was doing the right thing, and accused me of being the bad person in this situation. I was flabbergasted. I pointed out that she had invaded my privacy, violated my daughter's rights by conducting a DNA test without consent, and confronted me in an accusatory manner in front of my child. I asked him what her goal was. Did she expect me to break down and abandon my daughter upon learning she wasn't biologically me? A fact I already knew. He insisted that I was being unreasonable and that his fiancée was just trying to help. I began to question myself. Was I in the wrong? Was I the bad person in this situation? A few days later, my sister-in-law came to my house to apologize. She confessed the full story, revealing that my brother had put her up to the DNA test. When I first adopted Lily, my brother somehow convinced himself that Lily was my biological daughter, the result of an affair between me and my friend. He believed that I had been secretly involved with her, and that when she became pregnant, she told me the baby was mine. According to his twisted theory, I allowed her to pass the child off as her husband's because I didn't want the responsibility of fatherhood at the time. He thought that when she and her husband died, I stepped in out of guilt to adopt Lily. My sister-in-law, influenced by my brother's lies, thought that I was unaware that Lily might not be my biological child. When she saw the photograph of me with my friend and her husband, she became suspicious, especially noticing that Lily bore a striking resemblance to her biological father of men in the picture she didn't know. She decided to conduct the DNA test to prove the truth. She also shared that her own mother had an affair, resulting in a child who was passed off as her father's. When the truth came out, her family was devastated. Because of this painful history, she harbors deep resentment towards situations involving infidelity and deception. She intended to sit me down privately to discuss the matter, but when she saw me with Lily, she became overwhelmed and confronted me impulsively. I forgave her, understanding that she was manipulated by my brother and that her own past experiences clouded her judgment. She expressed deep remorse for her actions, especially for confronting me in front of Lily. When I confronted my brother, he admitted to fabricating the entire story. I asked him why he would think so poorly of me to believe that I would have an affair with a married woman, father a child, shared my responsibilities, and only step up when tragedy struck. He confessed that he couldn't fathom why I, someone who had been hesitant about having children, would choose to adopt a child with whom I had no blood relation. His actions have caused a rift in our family. Both my parents and I have decided to limit contact with him for the time being. I told him that while I might be able to forgive him in the future, I couldn't do so now. His lack of trust and the extent he went to undermine my integrity were deeply hurtful. As for my sister-in-law, she decided to win her relationship with my brother. They attempted to work things out, but after a few days, she returned the engagement ring. She couldn't stay with someone who had manipulated her and lied so extensively. One night, my brother showed up at my house, heavily intoxicated. He stood on my front lawn in the middle of the night, yelling insults at me and Lily. His shouting woke her up, and she came to me in tears. Frightened by the commotion, I called the police, and he was arrested for public intoxication and disturbance. I decided to press charges, especially since his behavior had become threatening. On a brighter note, Lily is thriving. She's doing exceptionally well in school, earning straight A's in all her subjects. She's particularly excited about her first ever science project and has been eagerly sharing her ideas with me. Her enthusiasm is contagious, and it brings me immense joy to see her so engaged and happy. Reflecting on everything that's happened, I still believe I did the right thing by adopting Lily. She is my daughter in every way that matters. Blood doesn't make a family. Love does. Despite the turmoil my brother has caused, I know that standing by Lily is the most important thing. I am her father, and I will always protect and support her.